This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we've got a listener-sponsored review of the Coen brothers' cult classic, The Big Lebowski.
I'm the dude, man.
Plus, new trailer for SHAZAM! Fury of the Gods, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania opening weekend box office predictions, the MCU lands its first Oscar nomination for acting, The Last of Us on HBO Max, and the early votes are in for last week's sci-fi movie draft. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, January 30th, 2023.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Snooch to the nooch. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, listener. What's up? How's it going? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd. We'll peep you next time.
We won't. We'll peep you right now because
shit.
Anthony, sometimes there's a felty. There's a felty for a time and a place. And we have one here. He loves to pee on his own rug. It's the Rug Dude. What's up, Rugs?
Yeah, you can call me your Rug Dudeness or Rug Duderino if you're into brevity.
Is he peeing on himself when he does that?
Yeah, that's what I like to do. You ever see that video of the orangutan who does that in the zoo?
Shoots the pee like a water fountain in his mouth? Yeah.
Yeah, he just lets it fill up like to his teeth.
And then he's like, check this out, humans, and just sprays the glass. How do you explain that to your child?
If I could do that, I'd be like trending on TikTok. It is very impressive.
The Rug Dude.
I'll try.
The Rug Dude abides. All right, we got a great show planned. A lot of fun stuff to talk about, including that movie. Let's dive into it.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
You guys, I've been saying every week, James Gunn and Peter Safran are about to finally reveal what they're up to the following week.
They got nothing.
And I'm going to say it yet again because this time, lots of confirmation. First of all, they promised that they would put out something by the end of this month, by the end of January. We are recording Monday, January 30th. There's one more day in January. He dropped some hints on Twitter, and from comicbookmovie.com, they're saying, from what we can gather, a press event is being held or already has tonight to give the major trades a heads up about what's coming tomorrow. So it is possible by the time you even hear this, there will be some news out about what James Gunn is planning, what direction he is going to take DC Studios in. I'm excited for this announcement.
Geek boner.
What do we think? I think we all kind of agree after talking about it, thinking about it, that he's going to start from scratch, reboot everything, best thing he could do right now, right?
It seems like that's what he wants to do. So
I don't know. I mean, I did make that prediction, or I did say that might be the best move. I don't know if he's going to do that, though. I have to admit, there is intrigue here, which is the first time I've had intrigue in a while for DC.
If I could get into the psyche of James Gunn, I have a feeling that this is the moment where he's going to want to kind of etch his name into history, right?
Oh, okay.
Just like Kevin Feige is, even though his name is always pronounced wrong by every person, everybody knows his wrongly pronounced name.
Yeah.
And I think James Gunn wants to be in that pantheon. He wants to be always mentioned in lockstep with DC.
That's smart. That's what you want.
And so the only way you can do that is to say, like, this is all mine. I built all of this.
So that includes recasting everything, redoing storylines, the universe, rebooting, starting from scratch. Now, before they learned about this rumor for tomorrow, earlier, before that, Dave Bautista may have let it slip. During an interview with Insider, they asked him, because he has wanted to play Bane. for a long time. Batista.
That's great casting.
So that would be great casting. But from what he says, he might be confirming that Gunn and Safran are going to start from scratch. He said he talked to James Gunn about it, and James Gunn said, "Sorry, buddy, you're too old." His quote is, "I talked to James about it. The direction he's going, completely rebooting the entire universe. He's starting from scratch and making everything younger and fresher, and I think that's the ideal path." So he's not that old, but Gunn is saying he's too old, meaning does he have like this is a long plan for Bane, and they got to find a younger dude to get in this role? I would have loved to seen Batista as Bane. I think that would have been amazing. I've actually like turned around on him. Like, he's impressed me in a bunch of different performances now.
Yeah, I think Bane Batista back 10, 15 years ago would be a good Bane. I do agree. I think he's still got the size, obviously, but the guy's in his 50s now. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know when they plan to bring Bane in, but yeah, we don't need to be casting guys that old.
Yeah, I mean, and if he's going to do a younger Superman movie, is probably one of the things he's going to announce or has announced by the time you hear this. I can see them. Pattinson is they kind of got a younger Batman, so it would fall in line with that age. Ruggs, what do you think? Batista as Bane, could he pull it off? He probably could.
Yeah, sure. Why not? If you're doing it in the next few years, yeah. If you're doing it 10 years from now, no. But yeah, at this very moment he could do it. But the fact that James Gunn wants to go younger, that's interesting because most of the Marvel guys are like aging out or already aged out. They're already like, okay, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And they're all like, either approaching 50 or breaking the 50 mark. I think the youngest guy is like Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So,
OGs.
Yeah. So, that's a different way of doing it. I don't know if that alone is going to be enough to just make a distinction from Marvel, but whatever. It is something that's different. So
a lot of this reminds me of when DC in the comics did the New 52. When they started that reboot, everybody was kind of younger, and it was all like fresh origins at the start moving forward. And for them to compete with Marvel, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to just burn it all down and start over. I think.
And what happened with the New 52?
Yeah, that wasn't the greatest. That also got rebooted. That was already 3 reboots ago. In fact,
yeah, that lasted maybe like 3 or 4 years, and then they were like, fuck this.
Yeah,
let's start it. Not even scrap it again.
I don't even know if it lasted that long. Probably.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna. I mean, we have our inklings, but I really don't know what the right move is. I'm just curious what he's got in mind.
I would take a page out of the comic book business. What usually happens, Imran, when they do all this shit?
What, when they reboot stuff?
Yeah. What's the actually thing that actually works? Go back to the beginning, the status quo, right?
Oh yeah, they always end up going back to status quo and undoing the thing they tried to redo.
So I think that anything else is hubris.
Okay.
Right? And anybody who thinks that they could change the universe without anybody giving a shit or without it taking a step down in quality or losing something in the mix, and that you can make the argument you'll lose something to gain something, but I don't know. I just think I've never seen it work out in a way that was permanent, right?
I mean, this is par for the course for DC, right? They've done this in their comic books multiple times, and it's so funny. They can't escape from this. They're doing this again in the movies. They had all these years and all these movies that amount to nothing. It's kind of crazy and remarkable that they weren't able to make anything out of what they have since Man of Steel came out, and that's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So, look, we could know something by the time you hear this, listener. Also, this could all be bullshit, and he doesn't say anything. You'll know in the future. In the present, we don't know. In the present, however, we do have a new trailer for one of the 4 DC movies coming out this calendar year, the last 4 under the old whatever the fuck universe. That's all going to get erased. Of course, I'm talking about SHAZAM, Fury of the Gods, coming out March 17th. put out a new trailer with a little more serious tone, a little more story, more action. Anthony, what is your take on this thing, Geek Boner or Floppy Jock?
I would say right in the middle. I don't have a ton of love for Shazam as far as the comic, so I don't really know who those villains are.
Hespera and Calypso or something? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So, that being said, I thought the original Shazam was a sleeper hit. I really liked it. I really enjoyed that movie. So, I'm curious to see how it plays out. I like this cast. I'm willing to give it a benefit of the doubt, this cast and this crew, because of that first Shazam. It does look fun. I mean, it looks, CGI-y at times, which I'm noticing more after watching Avatar.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it'll be a good movie. What's tapering my excitement is just the fact that I don't know if what I'm watching is matters anymore, and that's kind of why I'm anticipating what Gunn is going to say, because all these movies that are going to come out, even the ones that I would have a little bit more buzz for, I don't know if I should be watching these with an eye on the future. Like, I feel like these might just be one-offs and Gunn's going to do his own thing. So kind of a mixed bag in terms of how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's like watching like the second half of a season of TV when you know the show has already been canceled. Right?
Yeah.
You're like, should I even, kind of like Doom Patrol, season 4 has been canceled. I watched the first episode, then I found out it got canceled. Now I'm like, I don't even know if I should watch the rest of this. I love the show. Ruggs, what do you think of the trailer? They got the Drake song, which is
I hate the Drake song in there.
They pick the most cliched songs.
It's so stupid.
I mean, the needle drops in Black Adam were so fucking cliche on the nose. It drove me bonkers. So started from the bottom. Now we're here, really? Whatever.
Yeah.
Look, he's punching a dragon.
The bottom of what?
Yeah, the bottom of the fucking.
Literally, a magician gave you powers. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And Drake never started from the bottom either. He started from the upper middle.
Started the bottom of the upper middle suburban class. Yes. Look, there's monsters. Ruggs, no, there's monsters in here. He punches a dragon.
There's dragons.
Anything in here making you tingle.
Look, I know that this movie doesn't count, but regardless, I think that it could be a fun watch. I wouldn't go to the theater to see it necessarily.
I'm going to make you.
You're going to make me? I guess if you make me, then I'll do it. But like, it should be I would say it's going to be like a meh movie. Won't be terrible. It won't be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It'll just be like, it's all right. It's a good, whatever.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I'm with you, Anthony. Also, I'm right in the middle of like Geek Boner and Floppy Jock. I'm like, look, I kind of care. Whatever. I'm not really too excited. The monsters look fun. The trailer seemed like it was showing the whole movie to me, though.
Yeah, it did seem like that.
Right?
They showed a first, second, and third act.
Yeah, and I mean that dragon punch, how much you want to fucking bet that's from like the third act of the fucking movie? Like, I think they gave away a lot. I do.
He even gave away the Khaleesi joke that he makes.
Yes, and he does a Game of Thrones joke, which is like,
it's a little the Game of Thrones, Khaleesi.
It's a few years old, but okay. It still works. There's something about Zachary Levi though when he tries to be like tough and serious and mean. Like I don't buy it. You
like the nostril flares?
Yes,
or whatever?
His nostrils flare way too much.
I don't think you're supposed to buy it though.
Yeah, but at some point he's got to be like, at the end he's like, yes, let's do this. Badass. He punches a dragon, but like I don't know.
I am intrigued. They did give away. I don't know if they gave away too much. They might have, but the part where his beings are separated and they have teenage Shazam, Billy Bassett, and adult Shazam. I'm wondering how they got to that point.
I didn't even notice that. They've been separated? What part was that?
Yeah, there's a couple parts where you can see that they've been separated. One is behind the dome and the other one isn't.
Yeah, there's that. Even those dome effects, the big dome over a city, which it reminds me of the Simpsons movie and some other things. That didn't look great, but it looks like these Calypso and the other girl, what did I say her name was? Hespera come and they steal the kid's powers, and then he's got to give up his powers, and they're using their powers. I don't know.
Well, that's always the second movie, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of these superhero films, the hero loses their powers.
It happens
at some point.
in Superman 2. It happens in Spider-Man 2. It happens in a lot of sequels. You're absolutely right, which is weird. But I don't know. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna review it because it is comic book related. But like, I'm like, whatever. It's good. Looks okay. Looks decent. Like even some of the CGI doesn't look great, but it's fine.
No, it didn't.
When he hits that bubble, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I noticed it when they were in the ballpark and the stuff's tearing through the stadium. That stadium is. I mean, it looks just fake.
The thing that could save it, like you said, the original movie was kind of a surprise. Yes,
the original movie was like an 80s film.
Yes, it had that heart and that charm. It was fun. It was colorful. It was surprisingly a fun, entertaining time. So this one, they're in this trailer trying to make it look darker, but if it could still nail that family, that kind of heartfelt John Hughes-ish kind of thing.
I still remember in that 80s film, the SHAZAM film, that moment where the kids all get the powers and it should be super cheesy and it isn't. I was like, that's super earned. And that sold me on that was like one of those parts of the movie where I just had the good feelings about everything. So they did make something out of nothing in that film. So.
I will say that worked better. I was more invested in that than the way they did it in Thor: Love and Thunder with those kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like while 100%. That was fun, I didn't feel it. That other one, I was like, oh my god, this is great for the kids. Like I was just into it.
Yep, I agree.
Anyways, listener, let us know what you think of this trailer. You can join the conversation. We have a fun Facebook group called Jock and Nerd Nation.
Jock and Nerd.
Link in the show description. It is closed, exclusive, just for you. You can vote on our sci-fi movie draft. The graphic is up there. We will get to that. In News from the Nation, hotly debate, lots of controversy. It's amazing. But for now, moving on, another Avatar Way of the Water box office update because this movie is fucking juggernaut. Last we talked, it was the 6th biggest movie ever. It is now the 4th biggest movie ever, jumping over Star Wars Force Awakens. Current box office, $2.117 billion. And this is 7 weeks. It has been the number one film for 7 weeks straight. This is the first time that has happened since the original Avatar in 2009. I was surprised to learn this. That no movie has held on to the number one spot in the box office for 7 straight weeks. Cameron's Titanic, 15 weeks, holds the record. It is number 4, like I said, globally. And Ken soon probably will pass the Avengers for number 10 domestic. 620 million domestic, 2.117 billion worldwide. Could we get our first $2.5 billion movie?
I mean, first. That would be the first. This will be the first ever.
Oh no, there is. What is the highest? Avatar. Maybe I'm saying 3 billion. Avatar is like 2.9 billion.
Oh my god, it's almost $3 billion already from Avatar 1.
Yes, because it was re-released recently. That added to it. Avatar's at $2.9 billion. Will we ever see a $3 billion movie? Is what
I don't know. I mean, like it's topping the box office for 7 straight weeks.
Yep.
And then Cameron's lasted 15 weeks.
Titanic did, yes.
I don't think it's going to do that.
I think it might beat Titanic lifetime. Because Titanic is 2.19, it's 2.117. Yep. I think it might beat Titanic. Got to keep in mind, though, Titanic was in 97, so inflation. I think that's probably, it's going to end up past Titanic.
So Titanic,
I don't think it's going to catch Endgame.
Yeah, Titanic right now is at number 3. Endgame, 2.7, almost 2.8 billion, and Avatar, 2.9.
What's the competition coming out? Is there anything that's going to like knock it out?
Yes, interesting you asked that because there's nothing until Ant-Man.
And when's that?
In February.
So very soon.
They did this
February
smart
17th. Yeah.
They did it smart with Avatar because that December release date, there's really no competition if you get past everything else.
Things moved out of the way. Remember Aquaman was supposed to open on a lot of movies were supposed to open around it, and they fucking bailed because they knew of the Cameron effect.
And the January never really has anything good.
Right. So you're riding this wave.
So you can ride it for a bit. Yeah.
I mean, all of his big movies, I think Titanic came out in December.
Yeah. The original Avatar came out in December. Titanic was, let's see here.
December.
December.
That was December, yeah.
Yep. December and Avatar. So
he's no dummy. Like, this man is making $2 billion.
Yeah, he's got the recipe, man.
Left and right. Just put Zoe Saldana, James Cameron. You get $2 billion.
Way of the Water, one of your favorite sequels of all time.
Hey, it's on my list. It's on my team.
By the way, don't spoil it, but did you literally tally the votes?
I did.
How did you count it?
Good, I did a little bit. So I got a loose tally, but it's an ongoing vote. We'll see what happens.
He's got a loose tally.
I got a loose tally. I'm
Are you going to
announce it today?
We will talk about it later in News from the Nation.
Right, cool.
And where it is right now.
See, this shows how much I looked at the notes prior.
Loose tally. I need more fiber in my diet. It's okay. So this movie doesn't have competition until February 17th, and the competition is Ant-Man.
That's 2 weeks from now,
yes,
right?
2 weeks from now. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Predictions already expecting it to take 120 million because it has a 4-day President's Day opening at 120. And I feel like, look, Doctor Strange was crazy. It opened at 187. I think I could open at 150. What are your predictions? I think it'll open a lot more than 120 if it's got the 4-day.
I would say maybe 160. Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone is anticipating
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You mother.
Let's see.
Son of.
Let's see. I'm going to try to pull up some stats.
Oh, okay.
Box office openings. So you said 160?
He said 160. I said 150. They're saying 120. 4-day opening.
Yeah, I think I would lean closer to 120. And the reason for that, let's just rank this. If it was at 150 to 160, it would be a top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It would be a top 10 all-time opening for Marvel.
Oh, really?
Film. Yeah.
No, so the
original Ant-Man did 57 million opening weekend. Ant-Man and the Wasp did 75 million.
So top 3 openings for President's Day weekend. Deadpool at 152 million and Black Panther, which did an amazing 242 million. So I think it opens bigger than the Deadpool. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it could.
Maybe. I don't know. They're really riding on the fact that this is bigger than just Ant-Man. Because if you see all the marketing, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
They keep really pushing New Dynasty, Kang. Like, this is
ready
something
for
important,
New Dynasty.
Yeah.
So they've been putting out a couple spots. They put out a little 30-second trailer called Before that has a couple of new action scenes, new dialogue from Kang. Do you think they've gotten people hyped enough for Kang? Like, I feel like more and more people are talking about Kang. Just like all of a sudden Thanos was a thing, which is crazy. I'm like, I can't believe the general audience is just running around talking about Thanos. I feel like Kang's hype is good. And then there's a moment in this trailer where Scott Lang just goes, Kang! It's almost like Khan from Star Trek 2. He's just yelling Kang. It's great.
I like that. Do more of that shit. Now, they just need Kang to have his pectoral muscles oiled up and exposed. Just like in Wrath of Khan. He needs a nice bouffant hairdo.
Kang. Jonathan Majors got the body for that. How geeked are we for this now as it gets closer?
I'm excited to go to the theater for this more than Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Yes, that's a given. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I echo Rug Boy's thoughts. Yeah. Much more for this than Shazam. Simply because of the Kang thing, really. Ant-Man, I've said this before, is not my favorite character. I like him. I don't have anything against the character. But the first 2 Ant-Mans are they're okay. This one actually sounds like it's going to be important. And Marvel's doing the thing they always do that always seems to trick me, and maybe they'll trick me again, but they're saying this is important. So I believe them. and I'm willing to go in and be disappointed.
That's my biggest pet peeve about this.
That's what they said about Doctor Strange. That's what they Multiverse of Madness. So,
I'm a sucker. You keep telling me it's important. I'm going to go in and be like, "Yep, it's important."
Around with this shit.
Listen, I think there's good odds though that it is important. Phase 4 was kind of all over the place.
Imran's such a believer.
No, this is like Kang needs to course correct this whole shit starting Phase 5 with introducing this big bad that we're going to see in other things that we're going to see in Loki. And the more shots that I don't mind watching the spots for this because I kind of want to see more. It looks amazing. The shot of Kang again shooting lasers at the camera. Blue fucking blasts. It's just so cool. So I'm getting more excited as this comes. I bought tickets already, and like the fucking theater was almost full, I think.
Really?
By the time I got there, yeah.
I don't remember where we booked. Our theater was already getting pretty packed too when we booked it.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
Get your tickets now. King is
do you
coming.
go on the Thursday or the Friday?
Thursday. Always the Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah.
I generally, speaking of just, I know how we always ask about the crowds.
Yeah.
I generally like, if I'm going to go see a movie, I have 3 preferred times to see a movie.
Okay.
I'm going to go, if it's a big opening, I want to see it that Thursday because it's usually not, it's like nerds that go and see it.
Yeah.
So I know that like the crowd it'll be good energy and they won't be like idiots usually. If not, it's got to be like Sunday afternoon when it's like a little bit more dead with like kids. Actually, I don't like Sunday afternoon.
Those are
the only other time is really like during the week.
Oh, that random week during the day.
Yeah.
Matinee during the day, during the week is great.
It's great, but I just don't. If I want to have that energy, it's obviously not there.
Oh, there's zero energy, but there's nobody in there. Like it's a little chill.
Yeah, like with these Marvel movies that I don't want to get spoiled, and I want the energy. I got to see it right away with all the fucking crazies who want to see it right away. But like Top Gun Maverick, it took us fucking months to go see that.
Oh, Top Gun Maverick, I could have.
Yeah.
I didn't need the energy. I could have seen that at any time.
Exactly, but it was still fun with a fun crowd. But I don't mind a Sunday matinee or Sunday early evening is a good time. But I'm a Thursday right away guy.
I used to like Sunday matinee, but then sometimes there's a lot of kids in there.
Yeah.
And you get the mix of the kids, and then you get the mix of like the 12-year-old kids who are like the worst kids in the world.
Yeah, that can be kind of annoying.
They have phones now and they talk.
Oh God, this Shazam movie is going to be full of annoying little kids, isn't it? In the audience, probably, maybe even the Ant-Man one. It'll be fun.
I think we'll be all right.
We'll be fine. Okay, moving on. It's been a really interesting time for video game television adaptations. We've had a couple of really good ones and a couple of misses. The Last of Us, hot right now. We will talk about that later in the show. But Amazon is getting in the game. They are confirming.
Haven't they been in the game?
Well, for a video game TV show, I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry.
A video game adaptation. Yes, I'm talking about TV show adaptations of video games. Amazon wants in. They have bought the rights for Tomb Raider.
Oh.
And they're giving it to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who we're going to see in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny from Fleabag fame. She is executive producing and writing it. She's not starring in it. Let's be clear. She's not going to play Lara Croft. She is producing and writing and developing a live-action TV series based on the game. There were plans. So what happened in the last one that had Alicia Vikander as Lara Croft, there were plans for a sequel. That one came out 2018. MGM ran out of time to make the movie. A bidding war goes on, and Amazon wins the rights. They're also seem to be planning a whole interconnected MCU style thing with a movie, a video game, and the TV show all kind of connecting. There'll be another entertainment company that's going to head that up. But comment on that. It's a hot thing if you could do a video game right now. And I think Tomb Raider would make a great episodic TV show with a good budget.
I think it could be good, but I don't think it's what Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to do. She has some cred to her name. Like she wrote a James Bond film.
She wrote on No Time to Die. She has a very strange career. Like she does a very personal female focused comedy show that wins Emmys, and now she's like in action movies.
But like Tomb Raider is. It's not like what she does. It's like, I don't know, like No Time to Die was okay. Like it's not my favorite Bond film by any stretch of the imagination. It had a couple of action sequences. I don't know if she was responsible for those in the writing. Usually the second unit director, the action, like person who does the action will take over that whole sequence type stuff.
Right.
But yeah, Tomb Raider is, it's action based, it's mystery, it's kind of like Indiana Jones where there's archaeology and everything, but it's also Lara Croft the character and her appeal. And I don't know if she is going to do that. Because if you see what she did with James Bond and all that other stuff, that stuff's not like in the forefront. And in nowadays, it's like, not popular to do that stuff. But Lara Croft, I don't know. I feel like it could be like if it was like a Femme Nikita.
Yeah.
Where the show was like sexy and fun and kind of like adventurous and like a throwback to like its heyday, instead of trying to make it something new. It's just going to feel like everything else.
Well, it's Indiana Jones, the TV show. And it's funny that she's in Indiana Jones 5. Apparently, I did not know that there is an anime series, a Tomb Raider anime series on Netflix where Haley Atwell voices Lara Croft.
I have no idea about that.
Did you know that? I didn't know that either.
No.
I kind of want to check that out. Some people saying that may be something they would model it after, and apparently it's good. Anthony, are you excited about any of this? What do you got?
I've never been a big Tomb Raider person. I played the game a little bit, but as you all know, I'm not super into video games. So I have no opinion. I think I'll defer to Rugboy when what Rugboy thinks on it.
Yeah, I feel like she's a very capable character. You could do a lot of things with it.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that Phoebe Waller-Bridger is going to do those things. Like the things that make it fun anyway.
Well, but it'll
just be by the numbers TV show that's kind of like every other action based TV show,
The thing is, the action's got to be good. But also, there is the thing about how do you do a video game adaptation? We have seen lots of different ways it's been done so far. For example, I haven't seen Resident Evil, but I heard it was not good. But then you have Halo, which takes the characters and the designs and then does this a completely different story.
People hate that show.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I watched the whole thing. It was okay, but at the end, it
does some weird shit at the end.
Yeah, it kind of gets crazy. It falls apart. But then
it's not action heavy as you think it would be, right?
For a game like Halo. So then you have Arcane, which is an amazingly gorgeous animated thing.
Because it's animated, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, and also you don't have to be playing League of Legends to get it. I don't know if it's a story from the game.
It's it takes the characters, but it doesn't really, it's not like the game. It doesn't reflect
so that's
the game.
not like the game. And then you have another way to adapt it, which is The Last of Us, which we'll get to later. But while it stays faithful in a lot of ways, already 3 episodes in, it's changing a lot of things, but I think the changes are good. Like we're watching a very smart adaptation of a good medium to another successful medium. Which way do you take the Tomb Raider? That's going to be the question.
I don't know. She's a talented person, but I really feel like I don't think that we're going to get what we've been wanting out of Tomb Raider. You're going to take Tomb Raider and make it into something else. That's what they do. They're like, hey, we're going to take this IP and we're just going to take everything away that's in it and just make this other thing. And that's exactly what everyone's doing with everything. They think that they're being clever or inventive, but what they're doing is just, they're not servicing the actual character in the actual game.
You were right. Master Chief takes off his fucking helmet a lot. You should not be doing
that a lot.
Should not be doing it. Anyways, what I do know, listener, is you should check out our TeePublic shop because there's a lot of cool stuff to buy.
Should they?
They should, Anthony, because there's a lot of great T-shirts, hoodies, tank tops with different designs, cell phone cases, tote bags, pillows, a lot of fun merch swag. You can help promote the show and have something cool and niche that nobody else will have. jockandnerd.com/shop. Okay, last thing I want to discuss real quick. We've been talking about the Oscars for a few weeks. Last week we had Gerald Morris on giving his nomination predictions before the actual nominations. And you've probably seen it now. He actually nailed a lot of those nominations. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. He studies it. He's into it.
He knows his stuff. He
doesn't know how to pick sci-fi movies, but he knows how to pick the Oscars.
We'll find out about that later.
But
he does know how to pick the Oscar nominations, so he nailed a lot of it. But what's notable for us in the comic book geek space here is after about 15 years and 30 movies, a Marvel actor has gotten an acting nomination, of course, and this was predicted. We saw this coming. Angela Bassett getting Best Supporting Actress nomination for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I hope she wins. I think she's the front runner to win. That will be the first Marvel actor.
Now, do you think that she's the best actress of the year?
Well, here's who she is going up against. Angela Bassett is going up against Hong Chow from The Whale, Carrie Condon from The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So a lot of diversity in this group of
I feel
actresses.
like, maybe she's got a shot.
I think she's got a shot. If I could put on my Roman Polanski, I don't know why I use that name, hat.
You should look that guy up actually one day.
I know who he is.
It's like the worst person.
I know exactly who he is.
Okay.
But it's just the only name that's stuck in my head. If I could put that hat on, go back to my Oscar days, I would say she has a good shot. The Oscars are very, if you didn't know this, the Oscars are very political. And a lot of these awards are often lifetime achievement awards. And I don't think she's ever won anything.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, and I don't feel like Googling it right now. But that being said, if you take out Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, if you didn't know that was a Marvel movie, it is somewhat of a big Oscar-y kind of performance for a supporting actress. She has a lot of scenes where she's showing a lot of emotion and making big speeches, and that's what the Oscars like. So I could see her winning. Yeah, I think it might be the time. I haven't seen the other movies, so I don't know.
Yeah, just for numbers out there, Everything Everywhere All at Once leads the pack with 11 nominations. Let's just the best pictures. Let's talk about that real quick, because 10 movies, and it was kind of, for me, it was kind of a surprise that some of these movies made it in.
I told you these movies would make it.
Yes, we did guess most of these movies were going to make it. So the actual nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking. This is a crazy wide range of movies. I was surprised that Top Gun and Avatar, two big bringing the people back to the theater movies that have collectively made over $3 billion right now, got in there. That's kind of crazy. Do you think that
Elvis was also almost 300 million domestic?
Domestic,
worldwide.
Yeah,
no, worldwide. I'm sorry.
Oh, worldwide. Okay, still, I mean, Elvis is a crazy Baz Luhrmann musical, and Everything Everywhere All at Once being in there is great. Do you think that addition of Avatar and Top Gun Maverick is going to get more people to tune in on March 13th to watch?
I can't see how it won't hurt.
Yeah,
or won't help. Those are like the two biggest movies of the year. So, part of this is people have seen these movies, and now they could, potentially watch the Oscars and recognize movies that they've seen. So I think it'll help. I think if you're looking at the Oscars, this list, it actually is objectively a pretty diverse list in terms of, I kind of like the way they went. You have All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a foreign war movie. Avatar and Top Gun Maverick are your big blockbusters that everyone's seen. Elvis is a biopic. Everything Everywhere All at Once is an A24 film. The Fabelmans is a Spielberg film.
Yep.
You have these like art house films like Triangle of Sadness and Banshees and Inisherin and Tar. So pretty diverse group. I actually like that the Oscars are getting a little bit more diverse in terms of picking movies for everyone, like kind of out of a different, a wide variety of buckets.
A little bit of everything.
It's cool because in order, like in the past, when you had to do a movie and even be considered for an Oscar, you had to do these like very specific kind of movies that were considered to be Oscar fodder. And it's nice that you could have an Oscar performance in anything if you have a good writing and good acting and good directing.
Well, I'm excited that Avatar and Top Gun made it in there. I think there's a low chance that one of them is going to win it.
No, they're not going to win.
Who do you think? Want to make predictions? Who's best bet in this one? I'm still going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once
for best picture.
I mean, I would just base this off of my research and not having seen any of the films, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is the favorite, and Banshees of Inisherin and Fabelmans are the other two.
I think you're right. Ruggs, who do you think wins this?
for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Let me look at the
All Quiet is a great movie, but it is a fucking downer.
Where's Best Picture?
But it's very good. It's you got to scroll down.
It's at the bottom?
Yeah, it's after music. Speaking of music, RRR walks away with one nomination for Best Original Song, Not To, which is the big dance number in the middle.
That's not going to win.
I think RRR thinks that. I mean, it has to
maybe. It has. You think he'll take Not To is going to take it?
It's got to beat Lift Me Up from Black Panther with Rihanna and Thames and Coogler.
See, let's look at this Best Picture thing. All right. Back in the old days, the favorite would be All Quiet on the Western Front, but that's a foreign film.
Yeah.
Back in those days, even you smell your own farts, like that would make it even more like, oh, it's a foreign film too. Then you got like Tar and Triangle of Sadness, which is also seemed like Oscar fodder, right? Yeah. Banshee's also Oscar fodder. Like it's a little bit more of a off kilter movie, but women talking, total Oscar fodder.
I mean, The Fabelmans is like Steven Spielberg's origin movie about a boy falling in love with making movies. Like the Academy loves that shit.
Academy loves that shit.
Yeah, so that's definitely. But then you got like things like Elvis, and you got Top Gun, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a fucking crazy movie. That is like you can't even describe it. Yeah. It's like it's a ridiculous film, but it's also poignant at the same time, and it goes in weird places. So I think that movie's doing the most different type of shit. Like Tar, as great as it might be, we've had movies like this. We talked about like, what's that one where the guy plays the drums until he bleeds? Yeah. Like it's like, you know,
Sound of Metal is like another one.
Yeah. Like where people are losing their faculties, or they're going crazy, or they're having a breakdown, doing some kind of a big performance.
Oscar base.
Seen that. Yeah. We've seen that. So I think that Everything is actually doing something that's so bizarre that we have to acknowledge it. Avatar: The Way of Water, no, it's not going to win Best Picture.
I hope that wins Best Visual Effects. Cause
Elvis, I think Elvis is a little too wacky. I think that Tom Hanks' performance is so I hated it.
It almost kind of ruins the movie, but it was fun to watch.
It almost ruins the movie.
I had fun with that.
It almost was I mean, I know it's a cartoon, and like Baz Luhrmann, this is probably one of Baz Luhrmann's best movies that he's ever done.
Oh, you think so? Wow.
Yeah, because I think like Romeo and Juliet was a cacophony, and then Moulin Rouge was okay, but it really like was clinging to those songs for dear life. Like without those songs, like that movie would have fell flat. So, I feel like this is probably his most cohesive.
I think it's more like Elvis fits his style, also, right? The story of this guy kind of is the perfect vehicle for Baz Luhrmann.
Well, the actor that he chose was good, and the fact that the music, he could use the music, but the music is integral to it. Yeah, it does. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, Top Gun's not going to win, even though it's
okay. So, what do you think wins?
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that's 2 votes for that. All right.
And I think that if I'm going to go for another one, it's going to be Banshees.
Yeah, I think Banshees is probably...
Or I would go All Quiet if it wasn't a foreign production.
I mean, they've given it to foreign movies before.
They've only given it to one foreign movie before.
Oh, just one. Okay, maybe not.
Parasite.
Yeah.
Also, there's a thing I heard on the Campia show where no Best Picture has won if it's not nominated in at least a few of the other big categories. Which is why I don't think Avatar or Top Gun Maverick has a chance.
No, it's not going to win.
Yeah,
it's not going to win.
It's nice they're in there, though.
It's nice, isn't it? It's just nice to see it there.
Yeah. It's going to get me invested. So March 13th, Oscars, watch it. Okay, let's take a quick break here. We're going to play some promos and come back and talk about The Dude right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Shalomi, my homies. This is Dan from Netflix and Swill. Every year, Gerald from Two Peas puts on his personal movie awards, affectionately called the Golden Peas, honoring the previous year in film. This year will be the first year as a YouTube broadcast, and we'll have special guest presenters giving out awards in 7 movie categories, including Best Movie, Best Female Performance, and Best Horror Movie, just to name a few. And the best part about all of this is that the winners are voted on and chosen by you. These awards are 100% based on your participation and votes. Please help me share and promote the Golden Peas leading up to the event And don't forget to cast your ballot this year. Head over to 2peasonapod.com/goldenpeas to see the list of nominees and cast your votes. And then be sure to tune in on Monday, March 13th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern to see the winners revealed live on YouTube. We will have some fantastic special guests, and Gerald will be joined by co-host, the god of podcasting himself, Loy Sauce. We hope you join us this year to once again celebrate our shared love of the movies.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this show and answer Anthony whispering seductively
Yes.
in the background, whisper. Well, listen, you should join our Patreon fan club.
Jock and Nerd fan club.
Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. There's a link in the show description. You can support the show on a monthly or annual basis. I love this subliminal Anthony. I don't know if everyone can hear that. But everybody gets stuff there. You get access to an exclusive podcast feed.
Access.
Where shows come out early. And there's bonus content. And, I don't know if that's going to make it. You might have to be a little bit louder.
I feel like I'm listening to DMX.
What? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You also get Discord benefits. You can come hang out on our monthly Discord hangout. We do it once a month. We had one just last week, and boy, was it a lot of fun. Anthony, all three of us was there. Anthony was loose, feeling good.
Feeling good.
Did you have fun?
I break bread with my fan club.
Wasn't that a fun one, though? We had a lot of good people
I had a
there.
good time. I was there.
Nobody knows that reference.
Got to hang out, and people were there, and they got to see me for who I am.
Yeah, shout out to everybody.
Yeah, you got to see like a little bit of a loosey-goosey Anthony right there.
He was like, yeah, fuck it, dude. He was like the dude.
I see that look on his face before. Only bad things happen. Yeah, crazy, fun things happen.
Listen, shout out to
it's funny, Anthony.
Joey Austin also promoting it in the group. He was there. Jose, Daryl, Blake Braden, Dope Hope. It was a lot of fun.
Didn't Ronald Hans?
Ron Hans, he jumped in at the very end. Yeah.
His debut,
Ron Hans. So it was a lot of fun. I love when that happens. The next one, listener, you can sign up. There's still time. Thursday,
sign up.
February 23rd, 8 p.m. is the date for the February Discord Hangout. And there is a tier where you can force us to watch and review any movie you want. That is a fun tier. We're going to do that this episode. So if any of that sounds fun, visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Click the link in the description. Join the community. Okay, let's get to this week's review. It is a Patreon-sponsored review of the Coen Brothers movie, The Big Lebowski from 1998. Here are your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This one is sponsored by our Patreon member and longtime listener, Blake Braden.
Yeah.
Who was at the Discord.
Blake
Braden. And he was there, and I forgot to tell him we were doing his movie, but now he's going to know. So thanks, Blake, for being a fan club member. This movie on Rotten Tomatoes is 79% tomato meter. 7.3 out of 10 average rating. Audience score, 93%. This movie was made for about $15 million and goes on to finish at $46 million. Not a lot, triples his money, but in the later years, especially in the 2000s and later, sells really well on DVD and VHS, when they were still VHS, slowly becoming a cult classic hit. We will get into that. Like I said before, the movie written and directed by the brothers Coen, Joel and Ethan Coen, who are very, they make very quirky movies, known for other such great movies as Fargo, No Country for Old Men. And it features a lot of their frequent contributors in the cast, namely John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, John Polito, John Turturro, Peter Stormare, all in this movie. They're in a lot of Coen Brothers movies, but in the lead we have as the dude, an amazing Jeff Bridges. I believe they wrote this just for him. And you have cameos by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know if you guys spotted him.
Yeah, I spotted
him. One of the Germans.
He is one of the German pornographers. Yes. Okay. So, having said that, and I know, Anthony, the only other Coen Brothers movie you have watched is Raising Arizona. And I know this because...
No, that's not true.
Oh, no? No Country?
No, I've seen No Country, yeah.
Okay. So you have a little bit of taste of the Coen Brothers because they make interesting movies. Had you seen this movie before?
Not in its entirety, no.
Okay. So, let's start there, Anthony. What happens in The Big Lebowski?
Big Lebowski is about... pretty much this guy does nothing with his life other than bowls. He's probably in his late 40s, early 50s. And one day he gets confused as another Lebowski with the same name that's much more rich. And these burglars visit his house looking for money. And because of this situation, he visits the real Lebowski looking for payment or looking for money because these burglars piss on his rug. And because he gets himself involved in this situation, he goes on a journey with burglars and crime and pornographers and gets wrapped up in all sorts of drama that he never asked to be a part of and has to call upon his friends played by John Goodman and Steve Buscemi to help him out.
I'm the dude, man.
He's the dude.
It is a crazy, convoluted plot.
Yeah, it was tough for me to describe the plot.
Yes, but
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and we will talk about the plot. But I want to know, Anthony, first time watching this movie, at the end, how are you feeling?
I wasn't feeling as bad as I did after Raising Arizona.
Okay,
for sure.
That's good.
There are parts of the movie that I was really into. I think the plot itself is pretty interesting because you just don't really know what's happening, and every time something happens, it kind of twists and turns into another direction. So you're trying to figure what's going on, and not in like a confused way, but more it's just like, how did this all happen? Like, how do these stories intersect? How does this crime or this non-crime, whatever it is, how did this play out? Like, I want to kind of figure that out. So that's good. There are some funny things with Lebowski, played by Jeff Bridges, and Goodman, and some funny little scenes, and some of the stuff he gets caught up in is funny. It is weird as shit at sometimes. What I'll say is I liked certain parts of it. There's parts I was pulling out my phone and kind of bored with.
Oh, really?
And it's probably not a movie I'll ever revisit, but I'm glad I saw it.
Did it make you laugh out loud at any point?
Oh, yeah. My favorite is Goodman just trying to relate everything back to Vietnam.
Yes.
His character to me was fantastic. His interactions with the dude, and the dude just being like, "Come on, dude! Like, come on, stop!" And his overreactions, I thought, were the best parts of the movie.
He peed on my rug.
The dude and Walter they have great chemistry. Ruggs, I know you've seen this movie a few times. I've also seen this movie a few times. How do you feeling about it now?
See, the first time I ever watched it was 1998. I was a little young and not as seasoned of a movie watcher as I am now. I was kind of into boobs and action, and that's all I needed. And when I went to see this movie, yes, it was in a post-Pulp Fiction world where I was allowing myself to like absorb. But the Coen brothers always was a very hard sell for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were operating on another level that I couldn't get to.
Also, there's boobs in this movie.
Yeah, there is. But there are boobs. But I think like the first time I watched it, I didn't like it very much. I was just like, it's all right, but like I don't know what the big hubbub is about it. And I realized, oh, it's me. Like I'm not really watching them. I'm trying to figure this movie out, and I'm not really like taking it in. So the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, I think I'm getting it. Now, this is probably the third or fourth time that I've watched it. And I don't watch it very often. But this time that I watched it, I fucking loved it.
Nice.
And I finally get it now. And I started to get it on around the third time I watched it, like, feeling it. But then knowing what I know going into this movie, I was watching for more things, and it just makes the experience. And like, not only that, I forgot how funny this movie is.
Oh my God.
And it's funnier sometimes, even when you know what he's going to say next or what's going to happen next. So, I really enjoy this film. Is it my favorite movie of all time? No, but I really appreciate it. And, I could say that I actually get it now. So,
you're absolutely right. This movie, the more you watch it, the more you pick up things, the more you it reveals itself, the more you get it. The Coen brothers, everything they do in this movie is purposeful. There's a reason for the weirdest things, but the absurdity of it becomes more enjoyable. To me, it is one of the most quotable. I go around quoting a lot of Coen brothers movies, but this is one of the most quotable Coen brothers movies ever. And yes, their movies can be a little inaccessible. They're very esoteric. They're quirky. I got turned on to them in art school. I was hanging out with film majors, and that's when I was shown Barton Fink and Miller's Crossing. I fucking love Fargo, but this is definitely up there as like an absurdist satire and commentary on American society, on war, on the generations and capitalism and hippie culture. It's crazy. It works like a stoner noir, a slacker noir. It's a stoner movie on its surface, but it's pretty deep, actually, even though it is a movie where the plot doesn't matter at all. The story really doesn't matter. It's about the dialogue, the characters, the performances, the attitude.
Well, you can look at the plot too. The plot does.
No, the plot is unnecessarily overly convoluted. But it's it's about a rug. It's about money that was never there in the first place. The dude ends up in the same place where at the end where he is in the beginning, minus a rug. But he's still chill. So,
well, I think the movie opens with this tumbleweed, right?
Yeah.
And the tumbleweed, it symbolizes the dude. All right. So the dude is this tumbleweed that just kind of like goes wherever the wind blows, right?
Yes.
And it opens with him in a robe at the store buying milk with a check. Yep. He has no money.
Yep.
And
he's buying a carton of milk with a check.
But he's kind of like, even though there is a Jesus in this movie, he is his own Jesus. He's in a robe. He's got the beard. He's kind of like
he's pacifist.
He's a very pacifist person, whatever. Yeah. Now, what happens is he goes home and he's now thrust into this thing where his life is now all out of balance.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do. And he's got his friend. His friend is like the absolute worst person for him to ever listen to.
Absolutely.
Because the dude, if he kept on his pacifist, not giving a shit type of lifestyle, which he's been living his whole life, he just would have moved on with his life and just been had a dirty rug or gotten it cleaned or something, whatever.
He got his rug back. The movie would have been over there. Like, he actually gets it back and goes home, right?
No, I mean, they didn't take the rug. They just pissed on it.
Oh, he got another rug. He got a replacement.
Another rug, and it's taken from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And that got stolen.
But he listens to his friend who's fucking a psychopath.
Yes, Walter is great.
His other friend gets killed because of that, or like he has a heart attack and dies. His whole entire life is thrown into disarray. And he learns by the end of the movie is that I was doing fine. I didn't need all of this stuff to, I didn't need to do any of this shit. Like I was fine. Like the way I'm living my life, the way that I'm choosing to like just be in the moment, it was fine. I think all the things that go wrong because he's listening to someone, or someone's in his head, or someone's giving him bad advice and he's following it, like, because, he goes where the wind blows.
I mean, Walter just takes over and brings his gun everywhere.
What is kind of nice, now that we're thinking about it a little bit, and this just popped into my head, so bear with me if it's all over the place, but in a strange sort of way, this entire weird situation that he got himself involved in that could have been avoided many times actually ends up giving his life purpose, because by the end he has a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a little dude out there.
There's a little
right,
dude out
with
there, and
Maud.
this like never would have happened if he didn't get roped into this thing. So his useless life is now given meaning because even though he probably won't be the father to that kid, because the lady
she knows,
specifically having a kid with him.
Yeah,
this guy shouldn't have a kid.
Right.
He's not dad material. But the universe somehow figured out a way to get him the perfect lady who had money to carry his kid. So like in his way of living, like the universe is providing him with everything he needs. He's like he doesn't do anything. He somehow always is able to survive, right?
Yeah.
And now the universe kind of like hands him a mother of his child that's going to take good care of this kid. And that's just the universe kind of like rewarding the dude.
Things work out
you know?
for the dude. I love that scene too, where she's like on her back and he's like, "What is that, yoga?" She goes, "Increases the chance of conception." And he does a spit take, drinking his White Russian.
But if you think about this, right? Like his name is Lebowski, right? But he rejects that name. He rejects a name. He only wants to be referred to as dude.
Yeah,
which is the most like blasé, like nondescript term. He doesn't want to be known as his name. And then this movie forces him to meet a Lebowski that cares about like appearances, that is driven by ego.
Exact opposite of this
the
Lebowski.
exact opposite of and he has to kind of face himself, and he has to get yelled at by this person, and whatever.
He's being used by everyone in the movie.
Being used by him, yeah.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me.
Listen, let's talk about the dude. What an incredible character. I mean, if there's one person that can relate to his casual, apathetic, fucking stoner, minus the White Russians, I live by the dude's philosophy. Just go with the flow.
Dudist?
Take it easy, man. Everything's going to work out.
No matter what happens, you just wait it out.
You wait it out. Things happen to you, and you go with the flow. What a great character. Also, Jeff Bridges has probably the most comfortable costume anybody's ever worn in a movie. I just could every time I was like, oh my God, he looks so comfortable. He's just wearing robes and t-shirts.
These were like gel sandals.
Fucking sandals and sweatpants. I'm like, what?
He does a good job. I'll give you this. He does a very good job encompassing that role because
he looks so relaxed.
Yeah, he looks like a guy that would be like that. Like he plays it up so well.
I'm the dude, man.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a fuck. He cares about stuff. Don't get me wrong. He realizes when he's in a shit situation how bad it is. But his whole perception of life and being the dude and him just kind of rolling with it. I mean, that Jeff Bridges personifies that role.
He's so good in this role.
I can't put my finger if he used to care about stuff because he was a protester and wrote like anti-war stuff
in the 60s.
And he used to care, or maybe was he going with the flow of the?
Yes,
yeah.
when he's in bed with Maud, yeah,
when he sleeps with Maud, she's like he like drops a couple of like lines about I was in this what is it the something 7 or something.
So the dude, partly based on someone the Coen brothers knew named Jeff Dowd, who is a film producer. They met while working on Blood Simple. Dowd went by the dude, and he was one of the Seattle 7, which was a Seattle Liberation Front that helped organize a 1970s Vietnam War protest in downtown Seattle, and were charged with conspiracy to incite a riot.
Let me throw this at you. If we're going to psychoanalyze the dude.
You can.
Is the dude actually just a really depressed guy?
I mean, he's masking a lot of things with booze
because he's
and
drunk all the time.
Yes, and high all the time, right? He's numb. He numbs everything.
He's numbing everything. Yeah. He's listening to old. I don't even know what he's listening to.
He doesn't like the Eagles.
He fucked the Eagles. Great soundtrack.
He's listening to the old cassettes of like different things, like bowling and like. I don't know if this guy's actually all that happy with his life.
Like you do wonder about his background, like. How did he get here?
You look who he associates with.
Yeah.
I mean, his
friends are shit.
They're shit friends.
But he is a guy. I've known a couple of people like this. Old school hippies that are still living in the 60s and 70s. And that's their lifestyle. Like he reminded me a lot of people I had met in my real life. But the contrast of that 70s hippie anti-war generation versus 80s, 90s capitalist pro-war. The fact that it's set against the Gulf War, they keep mentioning that. I find that's very interesting because I think that's also subtle commentary on aggression. If you notice, a lot of conflict is solved with aggression in this movie as the dude is trying to stay out of things.
What's relatable about the movie is there's a little bit of the dude in all of us.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's a part of us that would just like to have White Russians all day.
Fuck it. I'm unemployed.
Fucking fucking be unemployed and like just go to the bowling league and not really give off the perception you don't really care about things. But again, psychoanalyzing the dude, he does give a shit. He gives a shit about certain things and he realizes right from wrong. So
I don't need your fucking sympathy, man. I need my fucking Johnson.
Yeah, it's a deeper character than you would think. Just on the surface.
He is, but also if you notice, he repeats things. Some of his lines are things that he heard earlier in the movie. He sees George Bush talking to Saddam saying, this aggression won't stand. Later in the movie, he tells that to this aggression won't stand, man. So I thought that was really interesting. There are times in this movie, that limo scene specifically, where Jeff Bridges is delivering lines, and I actually buy that he does not know what he is about to say. Like, that he's actually just making, like, there was no script, like, he's real. He doesn't know what he's about to say, and he's just fucking babbling. It's an amazing performance. And then you mix in all these crazy dream sequences that he has when he goes under, or he's floating over the bowling lane under the girl's legs.
Well, I think that's supposed to be like an allegory for him, like he's he goes into a bowling ball that's thrown by Maud, right?
Yeah,
into a bunch of pins, and the pins like explode into into like this void, and it's like sperm.
Yes,
like these little white sperm.
It is. That was kind of foreshadowing.
But I don't know. I don't know. That I heard some. I think I watched a postmortem from Comic Book Girl 19, and she like loves this movie, and she did like a really good analysis of it, and yeah, that's what her observation. And like when she said, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I don't know if it's that's what it is, but
I mean, I love that POV shot from inside the bowling ball as it's rolling, the slow-mo bowling in the beginning, and just like overall the focus on like regular bodies. There's a lot of like nobody's in shape, right? And they're focusing on the bellies a lot of times, and you see a lot of bellies. John Goodman is in rare form. But this movie, it's partly, they said it's inspired by Raymond Chandler's The Big Sleep novel. Raymond Chandler was like a pulp writer who wrote this kind of noir fiction. So, like, there's elements of a Western in this movie. There's elements of detective noir. And they've just placed the most unlikely person who would be the worst at this in the middle of, like, this detective case that he somehow gets all wrapped up in, all coincidentally.
How much do you think, not to take this too far into a different movie, but how much do you think Pineapple Express got inspiration from?
I think a lot of movies were inspired by this movie, because it is a little bit, that's a stoner, that is almost a more straightforward stoner comedy.
It's a stoner flick, but also where they get wrapped up in a crime thing.
Oh yeah.
And now the stoners are caught in this crime thing that they like never asked to be a part of.
Yeah, he saw the murder and he gets sucked in. I mean, in Seth Rogen's kind of style, it's really good. But like the Coen brothers have this weird style that makes every movie their own. But
I could get you a toe. I get you a toe by 4 o'clock.
How about this? Anybody? Yeah, you believe it, toe? How about this?
I still jerk off manually.
But man, the more you think about it, the deeper it gets. And we can't not talk about John Turturro as Jesus. Yeah. What an amazing performance! Hey, you ready to get fucked? He just walks up.
There's a lot of people talking about getting fucked.
Yes.
I love they cut to that one scene where they explain that he had to ring every doorbell in the neighborhood
because he's a pederast.
Reveal that he's a pedo. What is it?
A pederast.
Pederast.
I mean, he's licking the bowling ball. The dance he does is amazing. One of my favorite lines is, "Nobody fucks with the Jesus." It's fantastic.
I wrote him down as one of my funny things I liked as well, and then I liked that they keep referring to the Germans. They're just, they're nihilists.
They're nihilists.
They just casually just throw it around. They're nihilists.
They can't hurt anybody, Donnie. They're nihilists.
That is to juxtapose. So, like, nihilism is believing in nothing.
Right.
Right? And Zen is the art of nothing.
Oh.
So it's the two nothings juxtaposed against each other. So the dude represents Zen, just letting shit happen and just going with the flow and like not trying to, just kind of like letting the universe lead you in a direction. And nihilism is like rejecting everything and believing in nothing and that there's nothing worth. So I think that the movie also tries to juxtapose these nihilists with the Zen mastery or whatever.
Well, I like that. Excuse me. Walter Sobchak, John Goodman's character, just starts referring to them as Nazis, and is
they're automatic
born again Jew.
I mean,
and he's carrying on being Jewish even though his wife left him.
Oh, that's right.
He's modeled after John Milius.
Oh, yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, you know about that.
And a couple of other guys. Yeah.
John Goodman's Walter is modeled after Milius, who has worked on Dirty Harry, Apocalypse Now, Jaws, Conan the Barbarian. Milius does look like that. He has glasses and a beard, and also claims to be obsessed with the Vietnam War.
And the whole scene where he finds the paper in the car and goes to the kid's house.
Oh my God,
that's great.
That happened.
What?
Not to Milius, but another guy.
Oh my God, let's talk about that scene because there's so many funny things. This your homework, Larry? Yeah, we're gonna cut your dick off, Larry.
What does he say? Is this you want to see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
This is what happens, Larry. He's smashing his car. This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, Larry. You're hurting your father,
guy's
Larry.
like, hey, that's my car. It's not even the kid's
Hold
car.
on. The funniest thing about that is they play this movie on television, on cable networks and CW. So the edits for TV are kind of funny. Here's one. I just pulled up a YouTube clip.
This is what happens, Larry. You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? This is what happens. You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens, Larry? This is what happens when you feed a scrambled eggs. What happens, Larry?
And then the other guy rolls up. It's not his car.
When you see a stranger in the Alps.
See a stranger in the Alps. What a great scene that amounted to nothing.
Wow.
Because there was no money.
No.
There wasn't his car. And
there was never money in it.
It was a ringer for a ringer. And then every time.
Well, the whole plot is that the Rich Lebowski isn't actually rich. He got all his money from his wife, who's now deceased. So all the money is in a trust, and he only can get to it when he has like an emergency or some reason to withdraw from the trust. So
the daughter controls it. He's got nothing.
So he made this big ruse that his wife, his new wife, has been kidnapped, so he could withdraw money, and then he kept the money and just used the dude as a patsy, like to blame
I don't
it on
know.
he lost.
I don't know if he caused that. I feel like Bunny.
No. What do you mean he caused what?
Did he call Jackie Treehorn, the pornographer, to hire the nihilist to fake a kidnapping because she just took a trip without telling anyone? And I thought,
no. I think she still owed money to Jackie.
She
Treehorn.
owed money to Jackie Treehorn.
And the nihilists saw when she left. They wanted to extort the Big Lebowski. It was just all these things, I think, that were just coincidental.
They used the opportunity.
They were each using an opportunity there.
Oh.
And Lebowski's like, I can now withdraw money because this is happening.
Jackie Treehorn, his only involvement is that she does owe him money, but by Jackie Treehorn getting involved, he got the dude involved because he got the wrong Lebowski, who, by the way, I was like, Roadhouse. That's the villain in Roadhouse.
That's the villain. Ben Gazzara.
Yep, Ben Gazzara.
Oh, shit, that's right. Oh, there's this line.
We're going to cut your dick off.
How about in the dream sequence where they're running in red suits with giant scissors trying to cut his dick off is hilarious. There's somebody.
Do you remember this scene? I know we're going off track, but you remember? So he sees his landlord, and his landlord's like, "Yeah, you give me the rent, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, are you coming to my show?" And then you forget about it completely. And then, like a little bit later, they're all in a theater, and he's doing this interpretive dance.
That's what that was.
The show?
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
that's
realize
him.
that. Oh shit, that's the landlord. That's
so
right.
it does come back, and I'm like, why the fuck are they in it? And I'm like, oh yeah, like that was the show that he was talking about.
Oh, that's what that show was.
I missed that too.
I missed that.
Dude, I'm telling you, the more you watch this movie, the more you pick up on things. Like, for example, Donnie has a heart attack and dies, which itself is kind of like a commentary on like an action movie. Like nobody got shot. And it was just a silly, stupid way to die. But if you notice, before that, after he bowls, he gets a spare. He leaves one pin up, and he goes and sits down, and he's feeling his left arm like it's all tingly or something. And so they foreshadow a lot of things.
You never see the dude bowl.
And I was kind of mad we didn't get to see the tournament against the Jesus, because I kind of wanted to see the dude bowl. But there's so many great lines. Every time John Goodman goes, "Shut the fuck up, Donnie, you're out of your element," I just fucking laughed.
You want to know what the other thing I thought about the dueling Jesus thing? So you have like the Jesus that's in the Bible, which is like this pacifist, this like kind of like love everyone, blah, blah, blah and then like, there's this like perverted kind of Jesus where like people take the Bible and make it into whatever they want for their own purposes. And that seems like the Jesus, like the Roman Catholic Church is a bunch of pedophiles and all that stuff. So the Jesus is a pedophile. Like there's a lot of fucking subtext you can apply to if you want to, like, against the Catholic Church and all that stuff.
There's so many, there's so many things in this movie, layers of subtext. And I kind of love the fact that it's just this purposely aimless and ambling movie, but it's the experience. More great lines when he just goes, "Nice marmot," and they fucking drop the marmot in the thing. And then he's like, "I got new information, man. New things have come to light."
Yes.
Do you like sex, Mr. Lebowski? The physical act of love, coitus. Do you like it? Just amazing stuff already.
Mind if I do a J?
Oh, I love that line. And then the one I always use is, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." Because that sums up my whole philosophy of life right there in fucking 4 words.
Do you bowl, Imran?
Imran does not bowl.
I have, but I'm not good at it. Mind if I do a J?
Imran has a different sport. What's your sport of choice, Imran?
Smoking J's. Oh, man. I used to be good at darts and the pool back when I was in the bars all the time. It's been a while.
About cornhole.
Oh, I can get good at that. I used to be good at that for a hot second. But there was people that were better. And I just was like, fuck this. I love in the beginning where they pee on his rug and he's holding the bowling ball. And the dude's like, "What the fuck is this?" And it just goes, "Obviously, you're not a golfer." And the guy just drops it.
I'm going to write a movie tonight. It's going to be called The Big Javed. And it's going to be the same movie.
That's like your opinion,
like Imran
man.
needs a successful version of Imran. It's an asshole. Like, it'd be great.
There's one other line in there in that bowling ball scene when they pee on his rug. Right before that, they're stuffing his face in the toilet, like, "Where's the money?" or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like they bring him up. He's like, "Well, put me back down in there so I can look one more time."
Yeah, let me get a second look.
And he's like, "Put me down there. Let me get a second look."
At least I'm housebroken. He's just peeing on his rug.
How about the private eye tailing him the entire time in a bug?
That's John Polito, who's in a lot of their movies. That was kind of crazy too. That was funny.
Yeah, he's the guy from The Crow who gets shot.
That's right.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah, this movie's really made up of a lot of different.
You're funny.
There you go, lines. And I mean, with you guys pointing out some of the stuff, I'll give it more credit. There is, as you guys talk about it, I'm starting to enjoy the movie
It took me 3 times to get it.
It is one of those, that you got to watch a couple of times and it grows on you.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it again someday with a new perspective. The first time though was like I said before, was a bit of a mixed bag for me to watch that.
Yeah, I agree because it's hard. It's some of it's inaccessible unless you have at least something pointing you in a direction, and you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to see.
And that's the Coen brothers, right? That they make these inaccessible kind of movies that are acquired tastes. I mean,
well, not really. I mean, No Country for Old Men is a pretty accessible movie.
Yeah. Their earlier stuff was kind of Fargo is also kind of. Here's what's interesting. My experience with the Coen brothers. I kind of knew when I knew my taste had changed going to art school. Like after freshman year, I got turned on to Coen brothers. I watched Fargo. I fucking love it. I go back home for the summer. And I go to my high school buddies I used to hang out with. I'm like, dude, you got to watch this fucking movie. It's brilliant. We sit down, we watch it. It's a long movie. The movie's over, and my buddy turns to me, he goes, "That was the most fucking boring thing I ever saw. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I was like,
that was me.
I guess my tastes are a little different now. Maybe, I don't know. I was like,
I used to hang out with this dude who went to film school. Like, he was a couple years older than me. He was already in college when I was in high school, and he was in like this film school, and he would like come and he's like, "Come over, we're gonna watch all these crazy movies." And like, some of them were like that. Like, he showed me a movie, he's like, "Dude, this is fucking amazing," and I'm like, "Dude, this is the most boring, stupid piece of shit I've ever seen." And I just didn't get it. I didn't watch enough movies. But some of this stuff is pretentious, and you have to like really, like, it asks you to do a lot of work. And I never thought that a movie should do that. But in this case, because I've seen it so many times, and it did impress me every time I've seen it, I've always liked it a little bit more. And it wasn't such a slog to watch it the other times. I'm going to give this movie a little bit more credit than the other stuff that I thought was just, you're making me do too much work to like this movie.
I will agree. Coen Brothers movies are borderline pretentious. I can absolutely see how you can come away watching their movies and saying they're a little pretentious, but there are layers, man. A couple of other interesting tidbits about the movie. It is one of the 700, quote, culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, unquote, films preserved for future generations through the Library of Congress's National Film Registry. It's one of 700 movies on the National Film Registry. There is a spin-off movie on Netflix that finally got made. I haven't watched it. I heard it's not good. It's about Jesus. It's called The Jesus Rolls. So if you want to see more Jesus
on Shabbos,
the Coen. Roll on Shabbos. Fuck you. That's great. That's another great line. And initially, Roger Ebert didn't hate the movie. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars, but he didn't praise it as an all-time great. In 2010, he gives the movie a perfect 4 out of 4 stars.
Wow!
And it enters his pantheon of great perfect movies. The word "fuck"
it, man,
said 260 times.
There's a lot of fucks.
Goodman's character says it a lot.
Yes, which is one of my favorite things, is how many times they swear in this movie. And then just to finish up about the legacy of this movie, Anthony, I don't know if you know the impact this movie's had. There is a Big Lebowski Fest that's been happening since the early 2000s, began in 2002. A lot of people dress up like the Big Lebowski. There is a religion. Did you know about this?
No.
It's called Dudism. You can go to dudism.com.
There's like 500,000 people in this religion.
It is hilarious how they describe themselves. Here's the intro paragraph. At first it says, "Just take it easy, mankind. Dudism, your answer for everything. Come join the slowest growing religion in the world. Dudism, an ancient philosophy that preaches non-preachiness, practices as little as possible, and above all, lost my train of thought there. Anyway, if you'd like to find peace on earth and goodwill, man, we'll help you get started right after a little nap." It's fucking fantastic. You can get ordained as a Dudist priest. And really, this is my religion. The Church of the Latter-day Dude. I should sign up. I may get ordained.
If you were an actual Dudist, that would be
There's the Abide
amazing.
Guide. Dude, this thing blows up in the 2000s.
The Dude Abides.
I mean, I almost feel like it was ahead of its time a little bit, because the stuff like the anti-war commentary, we had the Gulf War, but then we go through another 9/11 and the Iraq War, and it kind of becomes even more relevant. And with the corporate America thing, like, it's weird. It was like kind of ahead of its time. It's still
philosophically. Do you agree with Dudism? Like honestly, or do you think that there should be like just going with the flow and just letting the universe bring things to you, or you have to have agency and try it? Is that too much ego?
Oh, man.
You're asking Imran or me?
That's a deep question.
Either of you.
Well, let's hear Imran first. I want to hear his real thoughts, and he usually morphs his opinion based on what everyone else is thinking.
All right. Well, look, initially similar to the Dude as the stranger. Sam Elliott's narration also kind of weird as the stranger, but as he says in the beginning, there's a man for every time and place, and he calls him the laziest man ever, possibly the laziest. So that's a lot of my motivation. So I would say, out of laziness, yeah, man, just take it easy, man. Take it in. Whatever comes at you, it was willed, it was destiny. You handle it, you move on. Why rock the boat? I don't know. It seems to be, I also just want to stay lit all the time. I don't need the White Russians, but, a little nap here and there. Mind if I do a J? Sure. And the comfortable clothes? Fuck yeah. Who doesn't want to wear that all day?
No, you wear no socks with shoes, so
exactly.
Yeah, you're already
and in a way, you are just taking what the universe is handing you and swimming through this stream of events. Sure, you could make a decision, but that requires work. So I don't know.
I don't know that he actually believes what he just said there. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know that he believes that. I think he's just saying that because it's worked out in a movie and it's got him this far, but I don't think he believes that. And I'll leave it at that. You got to take the bull by the horns. What are you talking about, Imran? Come on.
Yeah, but don't be like Walter, man. Sometimes you just got to take it easy and calm the fuck down.
Again, I don't think he believes anything he said in the past.
I'll tell you, mine is always, it's always about balance, like Mr. Miyagi says. You got to have a go with the flow.
Smart.
And then every once in a while, you got to fucking do, it's a balance of the two.
Sure, that's probably correct.
And trying to attain that balance is what maybe
we're all trying to do, right?
Yeah, that's the best answer.
We're all trying to maintain that balance.
That's possibly the best answer. You're right, though. It is a balance at times. But sometimes you get locked in one way. And you're just like, I got to make effort, make this.
You just slide into either trying to be a control freak and or you're trying to just run away from everything. And just
that's the thing with the dude.
Wait for life to choose it for you.
Like the story could have ended after he got his a replacement rug and left. But then, does he get a phone call? How does he get sucked back in? He needs a patsy.
Well, no, because he gets the replacement rug.
And that gets stolen.
No, but she says to him.
Maud comes and gets it.
No, but she also says to him, if he acquires the money, she'll give him 20 or 10% of it.
Oh,
because
he never gets any of the money,
right? Because she knows that her dad took the money out of the charity or whatever. So she's like, you got to help me get that back.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman, also great performance by him. Like everybody did great. I miss Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie.
Well, no, now you got what's his face.
Jesse Plemons.
Yep,
we already went over this joke. Joke.
Jesse Plemons. Yeah,
I just like saying that.
Jesse Plemons looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman ate Matt Damon. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yep. Or, they had a child together.
But, yeah, everybody just, even though Buscemi didn't have a lot to say.
Hell of a cast, for sure.
Hell of a cast. Where he's like, the walrus? It's like,
I'll throw this one thing out there, too. Julianne Moore, you see her naked for like a half second.
Yeah.
I went down a rabbit hole. I'm like, Julianne Moore getting naked. And I went down a rabbit hole. She gets naked in a lot of movies.
In a lot of movies, huh? Not too bad.
Holy fuck.
That's also based on, there was another experimental artist who would strap herself in and fly and paint that way, which I thought was...
Like Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock, yes. Or you think of like those artists that do like the vaginal paintings. You've seen that, right? Like the performance artists. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of that in there, but very interesting character. I love the way she talked. Yeah, this ultimately, what does this movie mean? Let's rate it, but tell me what you think. What is the meaning of this movie? Anthony, give me a number, and what does this movie mean to you?
Oh man, I mean, you're asking me something about a movie I just saw yesterday.
That's true.
That I other than this conversation wasn't thinking about that deeply. What do I give it? I will say you guys helped raise the score for me from 5.5 to 6.
Okay, that's good.
I'll go with 6.
Okay.
I will admit that maybe if I watch this movie again, which I don't plan to, but if I did, maybe I'll raise the score even more, given this conversation. And now the fact that I don't need to necessarily pay attention to the plot so much.
Right.
I think the plot does rope you in and get you initially hooked, but I could pay attention to other things and maybe appreciate it more. As far as what this movie means, I think the movie... There's all sorts of meaning you can interpret from the movie, but I circle back to what I said earlier about him having a kid, in that in a weird sort of way, the universe gave him a legacy, which he would have never had.
Yeah. Interesting.
It found a purpose in his life that wasn't there when the movie started, through a bunch of cockamamie things that happened. So
Nobody calls me Lebowski. You got the wrong guy.
Get the wrong guy, man. Ruggs, how do you feel about this movie? Give me a number and maybe rate it against some other Coen movies where it lands for you. Coen brothers.
As far as the Coen brothers movies, I think this is moving slowly to the top of them. I love Fargo too a lot. I love No Country a lot. So it's a juggle between those three all the time. what this movie means. Is that what you want to know? I feel like this movie's about ego. And sometimes you have to see exactly what your ego is driving you to do. And being aware of that is the first step. And I think that the movie quietly asks you that. And that I feel that's good. As far as a rating, I give it an 8.
That's fucking interesting, man.
I feel like there is something more that could have been done. I see with the character establishing it before he gets because I want to feel like either because we don't know because Anthony had this theory that he was a very unhappy person, and I don't know if they want to actually divulge whether how if he's happy or not. But I think the movie would probably be better if it went one way or the other. All right. I think not knowing, I don't think that helps the movie as much. Make the point. But yeah, that's why it's got an 8. I feel like they could tweak that a little bit more, and it would have been a little bit better. But everybody should watch it a couple times.
What's the point?
That is the question. Dude, I agree with you. I put it up there in some of my favorite Coen Brothers movies with Fargo. The more you watch it, I think it's like one of their funniest movies, one of their most quotable movies. And watching it again was a lot of fun, and kind of digging deep was a lot of fun. I'm going to give it an 8 overall, but very enjoyable movie. Blake Braden, good pick. Thank you for making Anthony watch another Coen Brothers movie. But the dude abides kind of says it all also at the end where he just takes it. He's like, that's it. That's fine. The dude abides. Where's my bowling ball? I'm joining dudism. Okay. Let's do some news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
All right. Well, listener, if you missed our last show, we did a really awesome sci-fi movie draft. Our first movie draft. It was a lot of fun. Gerald Morris joined us from 2 Ps on a podcast. And we put it out to the nation and our social media. There's a little chart. You can vote on who has the best team of movies. I have sort of tallied up some of the votes. I'm going to share some of the comments.
Some of them? What do you mean tallied some of them?
Okay, all of them that I found so far.
You son of a bitch.
Only the ones that vote for him is the ones he counts.
But before we even get to that, this is probably that episode probably created more controversy and debate than any of our other episodes, and it's fucking fantastic. Where do we want to start? It all started with the great Jaws debate of 2023.
Yeah, when you trying to fucking cheat and sneak in Jaws.
Well, I had some defenders, namely Seth Morgan, pointed out.
He's just trying to get us to argue.
He is, but he pointed out on Google, if you Google, is the movie's Jaws considered a sci-fi movie? From filmsite.org, it says very plainly, Jaws is a masterful, visceral, and realistic science fiction, suspense, horror, disaster film. There is also a review by a dude named Vincent Canby from the New York Times archive.
Well, he can be wrong. So
this review is from 1975. Paragraph 4 starts, Jaws is at heart the old standby, a science fiction film. It opens according to the time-honored tradition with a happy-go-lucky innocent being suddenly ravaged by the mad monster, which in Jaws comes from the depths of inner space, the sea, as well as man's nightmares. Therefore, Jaws follows the formula with fidelity. So, you can argue, and they have been debating. We got Adam Morris, our official science advisor of the Jock and Nerd podcast, involved. I thought this debate was amazing. Comment on the debate. Did it change anybody's opinion? I don't.
No,
I didn't think so.
I thought about what sci-fi is a little more, and I've come up with a couple things. I think it has to involve some sort of, for lack of a better term, weird science.
Weird science.
Right? Or space, or the future, or technology.
So, here, I'm just going to kill.
Those are like the 4 things I thought of when you think of.
You're right.
Sci-fi.
So you're right. I was ready to come in here all gung-ho with the ammunition Seth Morgan provided, links to things going, Jaws is a sci-fi movie. It should have been blah, blah, blah. But I'm now, and I know that's what we wanted, but I'm now just going to completely blow my case by reading the definition of science fiction.
Okay, what is it?
Science fiction is defined as fiction based on imagined future scientific or technological advances and major social or environmental changes, frequently portraying space or time travel and life on other planets.
There you go.
But I would think maybe the environmental changes that's where Jaws could fit in. It's a stretch.
Well, like, the whole thing is that the movie Jaws is based on attacks that actually took place on Long Island of when a shark got too far north.
Sure.
And they just said, okay, let's make it a bigger shark. But they didn't make it big enough to where it was like completely like or had special powers.
Yeah, but isn't the shark deliberately like hunting the same people?
Yeah, but so does the Ghost in the Darkness. That movie about lions. There's so many things where they make it's a horror film.
Sure.
All right. So a horror film, like a person doesn't really like come back from the dead, but that's not science fiction. Ghosts don't, or supernatural things because they're otherworldly don't automatically slide into horror. Horror doesn't automatically slide into sci-fi. Sometimes they will overlap, but like I couldn't say like, it is science fiction.
No,
it's not.
Right.
So if something's not acting normal, you could attribute it to the horror bent, not science. It's not a science base. Like if they created Jaws or the shark, whatever the fuck.
Sure. If
they created it in a lab,
tested on them or something. Yeah.
Deep Blue Sea is a sci-fi shark.
The Meg
movie.
is different, obviously, right? Than that science.
Yeah, the
fiction.
Meg is it's like a gigantic, dinosaur that's like it's like a Godzilla. It's like at that point it's a
Jurassic
kaiju.
Park. It's a water Jurassic.
Like okay, so let's say you have a wolf that's hunting people, like in the Gray.
Yeah.
You take that same wolf, and you make it 30 feet tall.
Right.
Now you got there's a reason like there's some ooze that gets on.
You give it guns or something.
Now you got a sci-fi film.
Look, I get it. And, at the end of the day, I didn't pick the film. It was argued off. I picked something else. However, Anthony, there's another movie on here that maybe is a questionable that actually made it.
Well, for me, questionable. And I think some people agree with me. But I thought more about your Matrix pick. And
that's not the one I was talking about.
Well, I'm talking about that.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
You have a beef. I'm talking about Gerald's action pick.
We could talk about that too.
Okay, I
got a couple.
My mindfuck category pick was The Matrix.
The Matrix.
And
the more I thought about The Matrix, I'm like, is this really a mindfuck movie? And here's why I'm saying that. They tell you the premise within the first 20 minutes. The whole movie is based on this premise that they explain to you explicitly right away.
Yeah.
So how mindfucky is it really?
I suppose I could see that argument, but
I don't think it has to completely confuse you to be a mindfuck movie.
No, not necessarily confuse you, but let me just say, and then you can step in. I think mindfuck movies have to like make you think a little bit more, or like they often have like a twist ending,
or they pull the rug out. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Like someone put in what's his name, Chev, which I agree with, and you guys shut me down a couple weeks ago. But the original Planet of the Apes is a mindfuck movie. In my opinion.
With that twist ending, that makes sense. Yeah, it kind of is.
So that's just my 2 cents. Go ahead, Ruggs.
I think that a mindfuck movie has many vehicles to getting there.
Sure.
Right. So you could have mindfuck where it's just like the plot is so complex you can't figure out what's going on, like Tenet. All right.
Tenet, yep.
All right. So there's, but then there's things that are like Interstellar or Inception, where everything's so messing with your perception of what's happening that it's not the fact that it's convoluted or complex. It's just that you don't know if you're in reality or not.
So that's why I thought it fell into mindfuck category. The one thing was that the movie makes you think, are you plugged in?
Makes you question reality.
Yes. Are you plugged into a thing right now and not experiencing actual reality?
And then there's another vehicles where you have a twist that kind of unravels everything. So I don't think there's just one way to be a mindfuck movie. I think that at the end of the day, like, what's that movie with Jared Leto? I forgot the name of it off the top of my head. And Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, Requiem for a Dream.
Like that movie, there's no plot that's mindfuck. It's that they're on drugs all the time.
Right.
And it fucks with your perception, and you don't know what's real, if he's crazy. So like, it doesn't have to be sci-fi to be a mindfuck movie either.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's just that was the subgenre.
Yeah.
So I think that Matrix does fall into it because it not only do you question your perception during the movie, but after the movie's over, you're still questioning your perception.
See,
here's my only thing on Matrix.
Yeah.
The other thing I have is I don't feel like they're actually doing that. I think they make you question what's going on within the first 20 minutes, but then the rest of the movie is just set in that universe.
But it makes you question your own reality. So fuck with my mind.
I don't think they're talking about that. I think they're just using that as the premise.
No, as a viewer,
no, I know, but I'm saying as a viewer, I don't think they're obsessed with you questioning the reality. I think they're using that reality as the setting for the movie,
as kind of a gimmick, yeah.
As the gimmick of the movie, but that's not real. The movie's really about the one, Neo, saving them
But I'll make the argument that if it was that concise and easy to figure out, when you go into the Matrix Revolutions, you're looking for clues all over the place, the whole time. You're looking for meaning the whole time to kind of add more to the story and whatever. So you are actively trying to assemble some kind of reality that you can understand. And then finally, when you get to the architect, then it's thrown out, and they use that kind of technique where they flip everything on its head.
Mm-hmm.
So like the whole entire ethos of these films is for you to ask the question, what is the Matrix? Is it better to be in the Matrix? It's a philosophical question. Like, does Cypher want to go back to the Matrix because is it better than being a slave in real life or being in this world that sucks? Is it better to be asleep or be woke,
to not know, or to be
So I do think it does ask so many philosophical questions, and I do think that you leave the movie questioning a lot of things. And I think that there's movies that confuse you and kind of manipulate you, like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where all of a sudden you're like, find out, he's been dead the whole time.
Right.
Spoilers.
But this one does it differently. This one kind of gives it away mid-movie. But then at the end of the day, you're like asking yourselves all these questions. Like, what's better? Is it better to be in the Matrix? Or do we even know if anything's true that we learned? Is it like, why did the Oracle know all this stuff? Is he really the one? Like, all these things that we think that we know. What's going to happen? It leaves you with so much, like, asking so many questions at the end of the movie. So I do think it does qualify. I mean, you could make an argument against it, and that's fine. I don't begrudge that, but for me anyway, my reaction was it was
like a fuck with my mind.
You guys outvoted me, so it doesn't matter.
Right, it's in. Let's talk about Gerald's action pick. Anthony, you have a problem with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
That one, I didn't occur to me at the time, and then I was like, is this in the essence of I guess we should have defined it.
Yeah, we didn't establish.
Is this in the essence of an action sci-fi film?
Well, we should have established, are we just doing live action movies, right, or does animated count? And nobody said anything, and it made it in
because if you just look at that movie, yes, it is an action animated movie, but it's not the same DNA as the other action movies.
Yeah, well, nobody said anything, we just glossed over it. But I kind of see where you're coming from, though. But they
maybe should have been an animated category.
Oh, yes. So in the future, we need to decide live action, or is there an animation category, which is actually a great idea for some of the future ones.
Yeah,
because
that one I also had a little bit.
I think it's a strange pick, but I mean, if you want to force it into a category, it has action in it.
On the other hand, Daryl K just posted in our Facebook group, hot take on Twitter, do you think Avatar Way of the Water is an animated movie? That's a whole other discussion.
No.
I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah,
I'm going to
see where he's going.
But no, because they filmed real people. They made real fucking props and used it to model things. That's live action aspect is there. So, no. Anyway, so
I get where he's going with that, but that's like
so. Look,
that's like saying people that game for professional video gamers are athletes,
but they are
semantics.
They train.
No, they're not.
They got to have the same fucking fast twitch muscle in their thumbs.
You can use the. They got to use the
same team building and strategy and.
This is all this. You can go by the book, or you can use the eye test and see.
Okay, so here we've come to the votes. So far, after 1 week, I have tallied votes from our Twitter, from our Instagram messages, from our Facebook group, and from our Facebook page. I'll share some of these comments. You may have seen some of them, you may not have. But here is the final tally. I think because some people were like, I think this person and this person. Some people didn't really pick, but they mentioned a person. So, Anthony, currently, you have 3 votes.
I know, I'm last.
Rug Boy, you have 6 votes.
Oh.
Myself has
Cheater.
4 votes.
Okay.
Gerald, leading the pack, 7 votes.
Oh.
Gerald may come in and steal this whole thing.
I think Gerald was winning.
When he said Jurassic Park, I was like, "Oh, that's one of the strongest." Like, because that's an all timer.
A lot of people liked his wild card.
And then when he said The Thing, I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble."
The Thing got a lot of
because
people
that was like we slept on that. We did not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what I learned from this one, if and when we do this again, is I got to play to the people a little more.
Well, I also learned.
I went a little too. My own personal favorite stuff.
Right.
And I think I got to play to the crowd a little bit.
You know what's funny is I thought I fucked up the whole thing and that my strategy was completely wrong. And afterwards I was like, oh man, I didn't really focus on like the team. Because I'd never done an NFL draft, right? I was like, I don't know. I was just picking movies that I love that I guess I kind of did pick like big fan favorite. I don't know. So for me to come up like second so far was surprising.
You're not second. You just said you were 4.
Oh, I'm third. Sorry. For me not to be last is surprising. But I was surprised I got that many votes. But thank you to everyone. Does anybody want to know who voted for them or some of the comments?
Yeah, let's just throw a couple comments here.
So here's some.
I kind of know who voted for me. But
yeah,
go ahead.
But there's some. You may not have seen these on Twitter. We got some comments. One from at Chance Whitmore 5. He says, so many of my favorite different teams, but Gerald pulled it out with his wild card pick.
The thing.
At MediaPath Pod, the MediaPath podcast, said Anthony without a single solitary doubt, 100%. Yeah, that was.
Wow, that's big. Big
whenever
ups.
someone reacted against me, I threw in the angry emoji.
I saw it. There's a lot of anger emojis on the Facebook group. But that one coming from Twitter, that's one of your votes, Anthony, right there.
Thank you, MediaPath Podcast.
On Instagram, Brian Goff, who runs the Parks and Recs Memes Instagram account, messaged me saying, hey, guys, love the sci-fi draft. Tough call on the winning team, but I think I'll go with Rug Boy. Fury Road in the last round was the steal of the draft. How did no one mention E.T.? Looking forward to the next draft. E.T. I think I had that on my wild card list. It was there.
I have one regret.
Yeah.
One real regret. For my wild card pick, I like RoboCop a lot, but in my heart of hearts, I should have picked Avengers Endgame.
Oh,
I totally forgot.
It's funny how like none of the MCU movies made it on there, and they're completely
they're all mostly
eligible.
Sci-fi.
Yeah. Blake Braden, Glenn Smith, Lisa Morrison all voted for Gerald. Jess Rivera voted for me. Daryl K votes for Rug Boy. John Campbell votes for Rug Boy. Austin Lee Jones says hard choice, but got to say Mr. Two Peas. He voted for Gerald. Seth Morgan voted for me. Of course. Thank you, buddy. I mean, he tried to help with the Jaws debate.
Seth Morgan and what's his name? Justin Zwerner had to vote.
Justin Zwerner put all hail Imran. So those are two of my votes. Rodney Simon says thanks to the crew for not allowing Jaws. What was Imran trying to pull there? Adam Morris votes for Gerald. John Bellotti is your other vote, Anthony.
Yes. I love that he shit all over you. He was like, I knew when he picked Godzilla versus Kong, he hadn't done his research.
Hey, it got me 4 votes. Honestly, that probably was like my hardest category.
My biggest regret is I didn't put Pacific Rim in, but the host is actually a really good.
Yeah, the host got people.
Someone picked you because of the host.
Rick Martinez. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'll get there. Right? No. Wes Cranford picked Rug Boy. Rick Martinez votes for Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe Henry said Rug Boy and Imran are the two to beat. And Jose Ibarra, it picked Rug Boy. His pick of the host is what sets his list apart for everyone else. So everybody, thanks for voting. Let's get more votes in. Again, there's a post on our Twitter, our Facebook page, or Instagram. If you have not voted, you want to sway this one way or the other, the chart is there.
Let me throw something else out to the nation. Maybe you can post it as a question after we're done with the show, Imran, after you post it. But I'd be curious to see what they want us to do next for a draft.
Yes. We need genre ideas. What
genre? Or you could do years, or if you come up with something else.
Yep.
I thought this was a lot of fun, and it sparked a lot of debate. And now that we all have one under our belts, I think we'll be a bit more strategic in what we're doing.
Oh, my God. I want to do another one so badly. After doing one, like just figuring out the strategy, I was like, okay, I need a fucking another one to test things out. But that was a lot of fun. I can't wait for our next one. Okay, let's.
Now, I know now I'm going to have to sell myself out a little bit more.
You got to be a whore a little bit. People are voting. That's how politicians
I think
work.
What doomed me is picking Godzilla, Annihilation, and having King Kong all in there. I think that's too much insider for me. That's just my thought.
I thought Annihilation you were playing to the crowd there.
I don't think that many people have seen it.
Oh.
I think you guys had way better mindfuck picks in terms of like the crowd.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting how it played out. I love it. Gerald is winning. He could easily steal this. I also love bringing like one of our fourths in, because it does add, right? Like imagine
Adds
Bilotti.
a little spice.
Yeah, Delhauer, Bilotti, anybody else want to jump in? Like, I love having that fourth person there to mess things up. Lots of fun. Okay, let's finish up with what are we watching? And oh God, I hope you guys are caught up on The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony?
The Last of Us is appointment viewing for me. So yes, I've caught up.
So
it's one of the first shows
since
House of the Dragon. One of the first since House of the Dragon. That's not very long, but since House of the Dragon, this is the first show where I'm like, no, I have to watch that when it comes out.
Holy shit. I kind of wish we were doing this weekly, but look, we can quickly talk about episodes 2 and 3 because, oh my Lord.
Let's talk about it as a collective.
I mean, I don't know where to start. This has been some of the best fucking TV I've seen in a long time. Holy shit. What 2 amazing, great episodes. I love how the first 2 episodes are very tense. There's loss. There's a lot of action. There's stakes. And then episode 3 extended actually becomes kind of hopeful and gives you a chance to breathe. And usually I hate when they slow things down like that. But holy shit, what they did in episode 3 reminded me of the beginning of the movie Up, and I was emotional, and it fucking got me. And apparently I know, playing this game, this is a huge deviation from the game, but I'm not mad at it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Ruggs, go ahead first. Or go ahead second.
Oh, first of all,
spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
In case we say anything.
I'm going to try not to say anything, but like
try to keep it spoiler
giving it
free.
away. But yeah, they kind of like told this very sweet story of a situation that happens where people actually find some kind of happiness in this crazy world where, you know, there's this what is it called?
Post-apocalyptic world.
What's the name of the fucking
post-cordyceps?
The cordyceps. Yeah, the cordyceps fungus has like turned people into fucking, I guess, zombies. And it was like a kind of a bittersweet moment, and it was very beautifully done. Yeah. So there you have it. I mean, it was. I mean, it definitely shifts the tone of the show a little bit, but at the same time, it was all performed and executed very
Nick
well.
Offerman and the other guy, fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'm loving it so far. I mean, the first 3 episodes are fantastic. You're right. The 3rd episode is a departure from the game. That's not in the game for sure.
Yeah. It's very different.
By the end of that, I was like, wow, that's a very emotional, heavy episode for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything so far has been executed really well. The first 2 episodes are more close to the game. There's obviously some changes in the 3rd episode. They confirm one of the changes, and then go on this thing with what you're referring to, the happiness, and in a way, kind of in a roundabout way, explain how Joel is going to get all the weapons he has, which isn't something in the game you kind of come across weapons.
Yeah, you just pick up guns and stuff here.
But it's always one of those things where even in Last of Us, which is perfectly executed, like you can switch guns really quickly, and you like it's like, how is that realistic?
He carries a lot of things and assembles a lot of things in that little backpack.
So this one, at least they're giving a reason for why he might have access to all the guns.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a beautiful episode. The show so far has been great. It's the best show I've seen since House of the Dragon. So HBO is on a nice run here with these two, and it's whenever I mention Last of Us casually to people, most people know about it. So it seems like I haven't looked at ratings or anything, but it seems like it's permeating throughout general culture right now. And
absolutely, everybody, a lot of people talk about this. It's
very
growing.
Good.
More people I think it's going to get people to play the game. Also, I love how it works.
Season 2 is already renewed.
Yes, it has been renewed for a season 2. My question is still, are you doing the second game, which is years later? Ellie's like a lot older, or are you going to fill it in between because you have Bella Ramsey and like you can't recast her? I think she's great.
I think what I read is the second game they'll spread that out over 2 seasons.
But does he do that next? And then we'll see. It could be.
Well, that's what that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. No,
that second game I read is pretty controversial. I watched a deep dive video on Screen Crush about it.
Yeah.
And I actually like it.
Oh.
I like the way they went in that game.
Okay.
Because it, without spoiling anything, it makes you feel something for the characters. It puts you in a situation where you actually feel something for like villains and heroes. It's just like, it really puts you in a weird, almost like a mind-fucky kind of place.
Oh, it's very mind-fuck, is it?
Yeah.
I loved in the intro of the second episode where, they mentioned Jakarta in that first episode we talked about, but then you see the Jakarta incident.
Boobs.
You see some boobs. You see they go get this science lady and she goes in and pulls these fucking tendrils out. It's amazing when she takes them out and they start moving and she freaks out. And then later when they're like, is there any medicine vaccine? She goes, there's no medicine. She's like, what? They're like, what do we do? She just goes, bomb everything.
Gotta bomb the shit out of everything.
I was like, holy fuck.
But they reveal about how the virus spreads. Yes, in the third
there
episode.
Is hints. I don't know.
Which was kind of brilliant. Yeah.
There's not hints. They tell you.
There's hints in like the first episode, second episode, and then they clear out. We won't spoil it until we review the whole show.
Well, one of the creators confirmed the fan theory that like they just barely missed getting the virus in that first episode. The main characters. Did you notice?
Yeah.
I mean, mild spoilers.
Yeah.
But
I played the spoiler.
Like he doesn't eat. They don't have pancakes. She doesn't eat the cookies.
Oh.
Like there's all these opportunities where they could have got infected, but they didn't because they avoided the bread-ish flour type place thing.
Spoilers. It's in the flour, which makes a lot of sense. Or the sugar. They're not sure.
Well, it makes sense that like it would spread that quickly.
Like, and you think about like the grandma who probably had like flour, pancakes, or sugar in that morning, and the rate of where he's like in one day I was like, holy shit! In one day it was over. I was like, oh my god.
Well, because and it's like flour, right? So like it's in a lot of flours and a lot of things.
You know what else is in a lot of things? What's real? Fucking the cordyceps fungus. It's in a lot of health supplements. It's a mushroom.
That's a real fungus, huh?
Yeah, it's a real thing. And a lot of supplements that use mushrooms or those kind of fungal things, it says you can read in the ingredients, fucking cordyceps. It's a real thing. I guess it doesn't mutate. It has not mutated in real life, obviously, or will.
Clearly.
But it is a real fucking thing, which is what makes this so great that it's that close to reality. But yeah, dude, fuck. Oh man, that third episode, I was near fucking tears. It was just like the beginning of Up. It pulls at your heartstrings, and I was like, wow, they did this whole thing just for it to end up like that. That's crazy. Great performances, but I don't want to spoil anymore. We will review when the whole thing's over, but we will discuss as it goes on. Any other comments about Last of Us?
Now, the question is this episode integral to the overall story?
Because the two leads are not in it a lot, right? But you do get to learn a lot more about them because they're just hanging out.
Right, but they do end up getting something out of it.
Yeah,
right.
They get what they need.
Yeah.
So, but all this happens before they get there.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. It's only we don't know how the story's going to play out. But
yeah, at this point, we don't know exactly.
Okay, this was one of my feelings. Again, spoiler. The last shot. is in the window, is pulling in from inside, looking out of the window, pulling back in the bedroom. I think one person may still be alive.
Oh, you think?
Because they didn't show you.
And they're just hanging out.
Show you
in there.
Maybe the amounts were off. They didn't show you any bodies.
Oh,
yeah, but what would you be doing?
But like to hire someone of that in that role and that's so integral to the game, and then maybe I don't know, maybe a flashback, maybe because you did see Tess in flashback. But I was like, maybe one of them's still alive. Maybe it was sneaky.
No,
the way
I don't think they're dead.
No?
I don't think they're still alive.
If that would that would be a good reason to then have this episode,
right? Then
like,
it would make sense. You don't expect it, and I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we're a third of the way through the show already. So, only 6 weeks left. Yeah, the first episode, I've also read, they combined 2 episodes and made that one a little bit longer. So that's why it's not 10. It's 9, which I think was smart. Because you needed that first episode to hit like that. All right. The fucking show is great. Drink up all the cordyceps, people. Didn't protein up. Get swole. That's it for this week, Rugs. Where can the people find you online?
You can find me at Twitter at ReallyRugBoy, so come by and follow, please.
Again, all the links to our socials are in the show description on our website. And if you haven't voted on the movie sci-fi draft movie show, you can vote there. Go back and listen if you haven't listened. It's a great listen. Send us your votes. I will try to keep track and keep tallying the votes as we go. jockandnerd.com is the website. The most important thing, though, listener, share the show with your fellow geek friends, your movie lovers, your comic book friends. Spread the geekery. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
My balls was hot.
Oh, that's old.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Oh, it's like the episode we just watched.
Jock and Nerd.